We're always the bearer of bad news in terms of business and the economy. And this particular study is from Mahola. Now, this is a company that scans the grocery price slip as you go out of the shop, and they can see the items that you're buying. They're actually saying more and more South Africans are seeing that there's less and fewer items in those baskets, but they are paying more. And that have seen a 23% decrease in grocery basket sizes as consumers feel the pinch in February. As Stats SA recorded the country's inflation at 7%, up from 6.9%. Prices for food and non-alcoholic beverages increased by 13.6% in the past year. What's more concerning is that basic items like maize meal, milk and eggs are becoming more out of reach for consumer budgets. To digest these numbers, I'm now joined by Maholla CEO Adam Reilly. Adam, welcome to Newzroom. My first question here, you are getting front row seats to what South Africans are paying for and what exactly they're buying at the shopping aisles. What is it that you're seeing in terms of trends?
Thanks, Matteo. Thanks so much for having me on the show. And yeah, we're definitely seeing in real time that the consumer wallet in South Africa is shrinking. We capture about 900,000 trips to the shops every month. And year over year, from February 2022 to February 2023, we've seen a 23.7% decrease in the basket size of the average South African shopper.
And when you look at that basket size, what items are South Africans now buying? We know that they're distressed. There's higher fuel prices, higher inflation, and people have to make tough decisions at the shopping aisle. So what are those items that they are now, going for, given that there's a price pressure?
Yeah, great question. So, we're definitely seeing stocking up on staples, moving away from more expensive proteins like sort of meats that were maybe traditionally in a basket towards less expensive proteins, and oftentimes shoppers moving away from some of the brands they may have loved in the past to the cheaper alternative.
But for more vulnerable households, Adam, you will find that even buying those now has become almost impossible as prices go up. Are you finding that maybe they're buying a 5-kilogram bag of maize instead of a 12.5 kilogram bag of maize meal?
Definitely. So we've seen that shrink in basket size, which will often result in the consumer buying the slightly cheaper alternative, even if per kilo it might be a little bit more expensive. And yeah, the consumer is definitely biting the grunt of the rising costs in the finished product.
Well, when things are higher in terms of price, the best thing to do then is to go for bargain hunting when you buying your groceries. What are you seeing on the retailer side? Are people then downgrading to more cost-effective retailers?
So we're seeing, we track about 2,000 vendors. So we see consumers switching between different vendors on the app. And we're definitely seeing a lot more rewards or discounts popping up on receipts. So on most receipts, we can see if a consumer is participating with a loyalty program, whether it's the retailer's loyalty program or ours. And we're definitely seeing consumers adopt loyalty programs so that they can get some money or savings back on their spending.
And in the closer look of those retailers, on a scale of, Boxer to Woolworths, where are you seeing most items being let go by consumers?
Yeah, in our data, we saw most major retailers affected, particularly Spar, ShopRite, and sort of Boxer Pick and Pay data. But that is largely the type of consumer data we are capturing.
Now, South Africans live in different economies. I mean, someone from Gauteng won't experience South Africa the same as someone perhaps in the Eastern Cape. What are you seeing in terms of trends of people at the tills at these different provinces?
We saw East London, Bloemfontein and Soweto most affected in our data set. But what we saw is across most provinces in the country, basket sizes were decreasing. So it is definitely a general trend nationwide.
And South Africa's consumers are stretched now. We're expecting a petrol price increase in April. We saw the inflation number in February also come through. And just last week, inflation at 7%. A lot of compounding factors for those that have to buy all these grocery items. What do you think government and the retail sector can do to make sure they subsidize the price hikes?
Yeah, absolutely. I think as businesses, we definitely have a responsibility to try help the consumer. At the end of the day, consumer spending is the backbone of our economy. At Mahola, we're making our data readily available to both private and public entities that want to understand what's happening with spending in real time. And we hope that businesses can get some relief over the next year so that they can get on top of increasing input costs and not need to pass the burden of additional costs of production onto their consumers.
You're a company that offers discounts for people that scan their grocery slips, and you collate all these numbers and then give out discounts to customers. How exactly can consumers get involved with your company?
Absolutely, great question. So consumers can download the app on app stores and just simply get scanning. We reward for any receipt from any store, whether it's your local retailer or a mainstream retailer, and consumers get a basis points on every receipt, and they can also get additional points for shopping certain brands. So we're definitely working hard to help their consumer get more for their spending.
Well, that was Mahola CEO Adam Reilly talking about the price pressures that are affecting South African consumers.